Hey guys, God bless you. I hope you guys are doing well. So today's video, as you guys saw by the title, is going to be my labor and delivery story time. So if you guys are new here and didn't know, I was pregnant a month ago and I was supposed to be due yesterday, which was February 3rd, but my baby girl decided to come a month early and she was born on January the 9th. So I'm just going to be telling you guys a story of how labor and birth and everything went. So I'll just start off with my pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant when I was about 5 weeks. In the beginning, I had a pretty normal pregnancy. Everything was going good, whatever. When I was about, I want to say I was maybe 20 weeks pregnant, maybe less, I went to an ultrasound and the ultrasound technician basically asked if I wanted to get an ultrasound to check my cervix, and she was like, it's optional, you don't have to, whatever. I was like, no, it's fine, let's just do it, make sure, you know, my cervix looks good and everything. So we did it, and thank God we did, because when they did do the ultrasound, they noticed that my cervix was short. So basically, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure a normal pregnancy, your cervix is on average supposed to be about like 5 centimeters. Mine was only 2. So what they did was they continued to do basically like follow-up ultrasounds just to make sure that my cervix wasn't getting shorter. So I was getting ultrasounds about every week to 2 weeks, and unfortunately my cervix was getting shorter. So what they ended up doing was I had to be put on progesterone medication. From that point, I was supposed to be taking it until I was 37 weeks. But baby girl decided that she was going to arrive when I was 36 weeks and a few days, which is about a month early. I do have a video as well when I was 27 weeks, 27, 28, I don't know, 27 or 28 weeks, where I had a scare that I thought that she was coming, that I was going into labor because I was having lots of pressure. I did dilate about a centimeter, but thank God she was good. She stayed in there for longer. Fast forward to when I'm 36 weeks and a few days. It was a Saturday. That Friday, I wasn't feeling too great. I felt very uncomfortable. I didn't sleep very well. I just was feeling pressure in my belly and stuff like that, but I really didn't think much of it because, you know, having pressure during my pregnancy was a normal thing. In my pregnancy, at least, you know, I did have a high first pregnancy, my cervix was short, and it was just, you know, a whole big thing. But yeah, so that night I just didn't sleep too well, and then that morning, Saturday morning, I was spotting a bit, and just, it was just different. So I called my mom and I told her what was happening, and she was like, okay, just keep an eye on it. She already, you know, in my family, we have a history of the women having very fast labor. So she was like, okay, keep an eye on it, and we'll, you know, call the hospital if we need to, whatever. So my husband, he works on Saturdays, and that morning, my mom was like, do you want to send Chris to work, or do you think that it's better if he stays home with you just in case? And I was like, nah, it's okay. He can go to work. I'm not going to have him miss a day for nothing. So he went to work. Now, since that night, Friday night, I didn't sleep very well, I decided, you know, I'm going to take a nap. So I went onto the couch and I took a nap for about 2 hours. So I want to say I went to bed at about 8 a.m. and I woke up at 10 a.m. on the dot. It was like 10:01. I woke up to a sharp pain, and later on, I figured out it was a contraction. So it was like my first ever real contraction, sharp pain. So I stood up and I was gonna go use the bathroom, and my water broke. Now, a lot of the times in movies and shows, you see, oh, your water broke, it's like shh, everywhere. That wasn't the case for me. It was enough for me to be like, yeah, my water broke, but it wasn't like a huge gush like how other people have it. Anyway, so then I'm in the bathroom and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I think I'm going into labor. I think something's happening. Something's going on. So my mom only lives 5 minutes away from me, so not even like 3 minutes away from me. She's like, okay, you know, take a shower, do what you have to do, get ready, and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna pick you up so that you're not by yourself, because my husband was still at work. So she came to me And as she's here, I'm still getting ready, and I start having very regular contractions. So from when I took my shower, I was having contractions. I'm getting ready, having contractions. At this point, the contractions are probably like 3 minutes apart. So I literally went from waking up out of my sleep at 10 to, at this point, it's probably like maybe 10:30. My contractions are 3 minutes apart. So I finish getting ready, and my mom brings me to her house so that I'm not by myself. And when I get to my mom's house, my sister was there too, and she basically started timing my contractions. Now, literally, as soon as I get into the house, my contractions are about a minute and a half apart at this point. It has not even been 1 hour yet, and my contractions are already about a minute and a half apart. So I was laboring at my mom's house for about 1 hour, and before my mom called the midwife, my contractions at this point are only 1 minute apart, and they are intense. So my mom calls the midwife, and the midwife, they were awesome. She told me later on that she heard me when my mom called. She heard me in the background that I was in a lot of pain. So she said, "You know what? Come in." And when I had spoken to her about it afterwards, her coworkers were like, "Why would you tell her to come in if she's only been laboring for an hour?" But because my contractions were so close together, she said, "You know what? She needs to come in." So at this point, my husband, he's trying to get his best to get out of his job and get to us. So my mom brought me to the hospital. Now, the drive there, I'm having contraction on top of contraction on top of contraction. And for me personally, the worst way to deal with those contractions for me was sitting down and having to be still. But obviously in a car, I can't be up walking around. So it was rough. And I got emotional and I started crying because I was scared. Like, obviously, this was my first baby. I didn't know what to expect. I was really scared. So I started to cry, but my mom was just being there, trying to comfort me. Fortunately, due to COVID, the hospitals only let one person in the delivery room with you. So my mom brought me to the hospital. She was able to bring me all the way up and get me checked in and everything. And then maybe by the 10-minute mark after we got to the hospital, my husband arrived, and then they swapped out. Now, when I get to the hospital, they brought me up to triage. And when I'm in triage, they checked me to see if I was dilated. When they checked me, I was already 8 centimeters dilated. So baby girl was coming, and she was coming fast. Then they get me into a hospital gown, whatever. And then they brought me straight into the room to have her labor and delivery room. And we get into the room. My husband is with me at this point. Mom unfortunately had to leave. I was so sad because I wanted my mom there, but because of COVID or whatever. So my husband's with me, and we get into the room, and the nurse puts an IV in. Now, first, she tries to put the IV in my arm, like the side of my arm, and I'm having contractions while she's trying to do this, and she blew my vein. And then she puts it in my hand, whatever. And I had requested to get a room with a bathtub because I thought that I was going to labor in the room for a while. I wanted to labor in the tub because I wanted to have a natural labor and delivery, which I successfully was able to do, which I'm really happy about. So they didn't have a room that had that. They had one with the shower. They also had like the bouncy ball and stuff, and the midwife was encouraging me to basically be in different positions, do what I felt comfortable doing, and I was gonna go on the bouncy ball, whatever. But literally, I progressed so quickly that I didn't have time to go in the shower. I didn't have time to bounce on the ball, nothing. As soon as they finished putting that IV in my hand, my body was telling me to push. Like, my body was pushing by itself. It sounds crazy, but if you've been in labor before, you know what I'm talking about. My body was pushing by itself, and I told the midwife, I need to push right now. So that's what I started doing. I started pushing. My labor was very, very quick in the fact that I dilated very quickly. I was contracting very quickly for a very short amount of time. Now, when it came to actually pushing the baby out, she was in the sunny side up position, is what they call it. So basically, if you're not familiar with labor and delivery, basically when you give birth to a baby, they are supposed to be head down. Imagine that this is your spine right here. The baby is supposed to be with their face looking down towards your spine. So they're supposed to be looking down. Now my baby girl, instead of looking down, was looking up. So in this situation, her spine was rubbing against my spine, which caused me to have some very intense back labor. Now, as well as having back labor with the baby being in this position, it also makes it 10 times harder to push your baby out. So I was pushing for about 2.5 hours because she was in such a tricky position. Once again, I did not have any medication, no epidural, nothing. So it was very intense, very, very intense. And finally, the baby came out. She did have a little bit of a cone head because it was so difficult to push her out. And after she was born, the doctor came in, to see how I was doing and how she was doing. And he said that if I would have taken 5 more minutes, like if I would have been 5 more minutes that she didn't come out, he was going to rush me to get a C-section because they were starting to be concerned that she was in the birth canal for too long. But I thank God that she was able to come out naturally, exactly how I wanted. She was healthy. She was born 6 pounds, 1 ounce, and she was 19 inches long. For being a premature baby, that's awesome. She was, a good size. And although she was a premature baby, she's as healthy as can be. She did have a little bit of jaundice with follow-up appointments and blood work and all the proper everything. She's doing great. And we named her, which I don't know if I had mentioned in a video, but we were really struggling to name her. We did not name her until we were in the hospital the day after she was born. But we finally came up with a name, and we named our baby girl Arielis Sarai Garcia. I'm in love with that name. Arielis basically means lioness of God, and Sarai means princess. So this is our baby girl, our lioness of God, princess. I'm so in love with her. I'm so happy being a mom. I couldn't be any happier. It's a love that I can't explain. And I just thank God every day that everything went smoothly. Even though childbirth is no joke, it is very painful. It is possible, and our bodies are made for this. So if you are pregnant, if you are wanting to be pregnant, if you are about to give birth, whatever your situation is, just remember that our bodies are made to birth a child, and you can do it. If you want to give birth without any pain medication, you can do it. If you want pain medication, go for it. But just remember that our bodies are made for this, and we're strong, and our bodies are amazing, honestly. Like, the fact that we can carry a baby, a human being that starts as basically like this little egg, and then it grows into a baby, and then after you already have your baby, your body provides their food, is amazing. Anyways, so that was my labor and delivery story. I was supposed to record a Q&A for you guys on my pregnancy, but I never got around to it because she did arrive so early. But if you guys still want to see that, you guys can let me know. If you have any questions, you can comment down below. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. Check out my boutique website, my business, De Novo Boutique. On Instagram, it's about De Novo. And yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day or night or whatever. And yeah, God bless you guys. Bye.